Hello, my name is Barбара Brauни and I'm the author of Spacewear. And I wrote this book to ask the question, what might you wear on a trip to space? And as a fashion designer, how might you design differently if you are going to design for somebody who is going into space? As we enter this new commercial space age, there's a lot more commercial space travel happening. There are a lot more people already flying in reduced gravity aircraft. So the experience of being weightless is something that a lot more people are likely to go through in the future. At present, most of those people who experience weightlessness are just wearing flight suits, which are not really much changed from the jet age. But this is a generation of people who are going to want to take selfies, take videos themselves experiencing weightlessness, and they're going to want to visibly evidence that weightlessness. They're going to want to look like they're weightless in those environments when they photograph themselves, when they film themselves. And of course, that means their clothes need to visibly evidence that weightlessness as well. And this means discarding a lot of the things that we take for granted about fashion design. So much of what we do when we're designing fashion on Earth is not applicable in space. So for example, we think about the weight of fabric, we think about drape, but drape is not something that we need to think about in space. Clothes kind of billow out around the body, they don't drape against the body when we're in space. Also, as fashion designers on Earth, we take for granted that we are going to encounter the body in an upright orientation. So we think about clothes in terms of silhouette. We think about the front view and the side view and the back view of a garment. Whereas if you are weightless, you might encounter a body at any angle. You might encounter it from underneath, from above. And as a result of that, we need to start thinking about clothes from different directions, different angles. So what this book tries to do is it starts to identify those things that we would need to take into account if we are designing clothes for the weightless environment. There's lots of people who have already written about things like the textile technology, wearable technology that might be used in space. But very few people have really looked at form and shape and drape and those things that are very fundamental to fashion design that also need to be looked at when we're thinking about the weightless environment. And so what this book starts to do is to identify conditions and how fashion designers might respond to those conditions, considerations that we need to think about when we are designing for space, and also begins to take a look at what the fashion industry has done so far since the space age and much more recently to anticipate those changes and those needs, the things that we need to look at when we are designing for the weightless environment that we're going to encounter when we start to become space tourists.